Well, thanks for sitting down with us. It's good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Your fans a few months ago, I think, were surprised to read a message from you that said that you were going to seek some help and some treatment. What was it that brought you to that decision?
Well, I basically had a breakdown, and I did some things that I regret to this day. There was a bunch leading up to it, emotionally and physically, that I was doing to myself that I realized was unhealthy for my life, and I wasn't going to continue to be alive if I, continued to treat my body the way that I was. So after years of struggling with an eating disorder and depression and cutting, I decided to go seek medical help and actually go inpatient somewhere. And so that's what I did.
But so you were living two lives, because on the outside you were this happy-go-lucky young star.
Right.
But behind closed doors, depressed.
Right. I mean, it was night and day. Like, on camera, I could totally turn it on. And that's part of being an actress. And being a musician, you go on stage, and no matter what you're dealing with behind closed doors, you go out there and you put on a show. You know that phrase, the show must go on.
Sure.
Well, the show did go on, but this time it was without me. And I had to basically put my personal life in front of my career, which was very difficult for me because my career is all that I had known, and face my problems head on.
So when you say that this happened for years, how young were you when you started to have personal issues and eating disorders and the depression?
I was struggling with depression as early as 7 years old, and just like suicidal thoughts and things like that, which I knew was abnormal for a kid.
Have you figured out why?
Yes.
Why?
When I went into treatment, they diagnosed me as bipolar. So I had been bipolar for however many years, as far as I could remember, and had never been treated for it because I didn't know. And, and there's also other things that added up, and I just, looking back, I was unmedicated for so many years, and it led to so many problems, and which eventually led me to some of my biggest problems, which were anorexia and bulimia and cutting.
And so during all of this, who knew about it?
There was the occasional seeing my wrists from my co-stars or people that I worked with or my family, and then there was also the people noticing my eating behaviors, and it definitely wasn't natural at all. I would always go to the bathroom after dinner, and some people noticed, and then I always played it off, but for the first time in my life, I really got help in October of last year.
And you made a decision to
Yeah.
quit the television show. You made a decision to be proactive and handle it, and you made a decision to talk about it.
Right.
Why do you feel like you should talk about it, and why do you want to talk about it?
I was having dinner with another actress last night, and her name is Brittany Snow, and she's the co-founder of this organization called Love is Louder. And we were talking about it last night, about how we've both struggled from issues and with eating and cutting, and one of the biggest things that we talked about was how thankful we are that we are proactive about it, because so many people don't talk about these issues. And we were just talking last night, and I was thinking, you don't realize how many girls are suffering and nobody even knows, or nobody does anything about it because it's become the norm, or it's such taboo to talk about cutting and self-harm, and people have to take a stand. And I feel like with the voice that I was given musically, I also have to make it very aware that there are issues that need to be addressed, and if I can help somebody by telling my story, I'm going to do that 100%.
And Demi, what have you learned most about yourself going through this process, and how to stay on the right track?
It's a daily journey, and it's definitely going to be a struggle that I'll have to deal with for the rest of my life. And, you know, I get frustrated sometimes. I'm just like, why couldn't I have been born normal? Like, this sucks. But that's how it is with addiction, and that's how it is. It's just, it's going to be a daily battle, and I'm not going to be perfect. But as long as I wake up in the morning and I eat my breakfast and I say, look, I'm going to eat this meal for right now. I'm going to eat for the rest of the day. I'm not going to self-harm, and I'm not going to do anything self-destructive. If I can make it through the day, I can make it. That's all that matters, you know. And I woke up today, and I ate my breakfast, and I did my stuff, and no matter how hard I wanted to fight it, and no matter what negative thoughts and insecurities were coming into my head, I just kept thinking, okay, just for right now. And even if I have to take it, like, literally one bite at a time and say, like, I can do this, then I can make it through it. But I have an incredible support system around me. You
were very, very honest with your fans. Were you surprised about their reaction and about the immediate and incredible and overwhelming support?
Yes, I was absolutely surprised, because it's hard to build up the courage to go into treatment in front of the spotlight or not. But then you add the pressure of so many people who told me, don't turn out like this starlet, don't turn out like this person. But yet, here I was, you know, I was fighting in my head, if I go into treatment, people are going to think that I'm like this troubled actress, you know, because that's rehab. And I didn't want to be listed as one of those people. But then I remember thinking, oh, you've been suffering for years, and you got to put yourself first. And I was shocked to see how many people supported me in going in and getting help, because I wasn't expecting that. I honestly thought that people were like, oh, another actress in rehab. And when I saw the support, there were fans that tattooed a heart on their wrist every day that I was in treatment until the day I got out. It was amazing. It was incredible. And I was that's honestly one of the things that got me through it.
And speaking of tattoos, I know you have symbolic tattoos.
Yes, I do.
Tell me about yours.
Stay and strong on my wrist, and it's and then a little heart that my fans would draw on their wrist every day, and some people got it tattooed them. And I decided to get it whenever I got out of treatment, partially because I wanted to cover some of the scars from before, and also because I wanted to remind myself every day, and it's on my hands when I look when I wash my hands, when I brush my teeth, whatever I do, I look at my hands and it says stay strong, and then I have that heart to remind me of the fan support.
Music is something that is such a passion.
Music is my boyfriend.
Music is, we now know who she's dating.
Yes, music is my boyfriend.
And Skyscraper, which is a hit single, congratulations.
Thank you.
Is a very personal song to you. Mm-hmm. Tell me about why that song spoke to you and what you feel when you sing it. When I first heard the song Skyscraper, I hadn't written on it, and I heard it and I didn't care. I was like, oh my God, this song is incredible. And I recorded it a year ago, before anything had happened, before my breakdown, before treatment. And I recorded it, and I was just pouring tears in the studio. Like, I was almost doubled over at some points, and just in pain. And I remember thinking this was kind of my cry for help back then, because I hadn't spoken to anyone about these issues, and I hadn't gotten the help that I needed. So I recorded the song again a few months later after treatment, because my voice is a lot stronger now that I'm not ruining it by damaging it after every meal. And it just didn't feel the same. And we kept the original one, and I just feel, for me, it was such a symbol of, like, I don't know, it was so symbolic of, like, it being the song that I recorded before treatment, yet it's providing a message. And it just was like really crazy, because the way that things played out, it ended up being my single, and it represented everything that I'm trying to
it represented what I'm trying to spread the word about, is getting help and rising above any issues that my fans are dealing with, or that, you know, the guy on the street is dealing with. So.
And the look of it, and you're set in the desert, and I think you're in, is it all white or an off-white color? I mean, it's an emotional and powerful video. Tell me about how you put that together and the imagery of it.
When I first started talking to people about the video, I remember thinking, this isn't like your glam video. Like, I don't want it to look like this video is all about the hair and makeup and the outfit and this and that. And for a lot of the video, I was actually barefoot, because I was like, this has to be so raw, and it has to be able to show all of the emotion that I'm feeling. So we went to a director named Mark Pellington, and he put this incredible treatment together, and there were so many things that represented my addictions to my eating disorders in the video, and self-harm. There was one scene where, or not scene, there was one shot where I'm unraveling this black fabric and I'm taking it off, and it just represented that toxicity that took over my mind for so long, that almost oozed out of every pore that I had because I was suffering inside. And in the video, I'm taking it off, and I'm walking on broken glass, and I'm powering through it. And that video was an emotional release for me. It was almost like therapy. And I cried my eyes out in a few takes, and even when they yelled cut, I kept crying because I was like so emotionally invested, and I had already gone to that place mentally, and I couldn't get out of it. And and so they rolled again, and I just kept crying, and I kept going, and it felt so good. It was like therapy, and that's when I realized this is what music and music videos are all about.
And it ends, it's a lingering ending with the last shot and last few frames of a red heart. Tell me about that.
The red heart is protected by this glass, and it's a glass heart, and it can be easily broken, and the shield is broken. But at the end of the video, the heart is never broken. It had been protected for so long, but at the end of the video, even though its shield had been broken down, it's still standing strong. And that's kind of how I look at my problems and my issues. It's like, yes, my mask had been torn down, and I was completely vulnerable for so long. The whole world knew my problems, everything, like, and I wasn't going to lie, I wasn't going to hold things back. Why lie, why hold things back? Everyone finds things out anyways. So it was, I had to be completely honest, I had to be completely vulnerable, and then it ended up working for me because I was so vulnerable, I was able to reach out to people. And I have fans now that say, because of you, I quit cutting. Because of your journey and seeing you in recovery, whether you're fully recovered or not, just like trying to get help and taking that step, you've helped me with my eating disorder. And yeah, that's just more than what any, you know, #1 song on iTunes could do for me.
You seem at peace, you seem happy.
Yes.
Your spirit seems genuinely that.
Yes.
Is that where you are right now?
Right now, yeah, for today. For today, I'm really happy, and I'm really excited about life. And, you know, I don't know what could happen tomorrow, but I know that if something did happen tomorrow, I know that I would keep trying. And I know that I could rely on the support system that's gotten me through all of this.
And there is not a boyfriend supporting you right now?
No, there's no boyfriend.
No boyfriend.
And I can look you dead in the eye and tell you,
Do
no
not blink.
boyfriend. No boyfriend. Music is my boyfriend.
Okay,
yes.
good. Thanks for chatting with me. It's
Thank
great
you
to see
so
you. Congratulations.
much. Thank you.